Hi guys, good evening, good morning, good afternoon. Welcome to the Business Analysis Masterclass. Let me see if we have missing anyone in the masterclass. Some are just joining in. Just hold on guys, we'll just get started.
So let me just share the screen.
The next section talks specifically about BA book. So we will understand what is the structure of this book. Very, very important guys. That's why I'll show you, I'll open BA book here. And then we will go from one section to the other. Okay. So this is the PDF document all of you have access to, BA book. The full form of BA book, Business Analyst Body of Knowledge. That's what it's called. And that's why we call this the Bible of Business Analysis. So on the left-hand side, you'll see the TOC, Table of Contents. And these are the different chapters that are there in BA book. So we'll go through these TOCs to understand what these chapters actually consist of and how we will be navigating through these chapters throughout the masterclass. The first two chapters is something that we will close today in today's masterclass. The introduction chapter and the business analysis key concepts. Okay? These are just talking about some high-level concepts of what a business analyst does, what exactly business analysis is all about, and what are the type of requirements that exist in the project. All of that we'll cover today. From chapter 3 onwards, okay, take a note of this, guys. From chapter 3 onwards, the chapters that are following chapter 3, they are called as knowledge areas. Mention KA in the chat box, knowledge areas. Okay. Take a note of this. What are knowledge areas? Knowledge areas are nothing but categories created by IIBA to group a set of tasks that are done by a BA. So knowledge areas equal to categories. Mention that in the note. Otherwise, you'll think why these knowledge areas and things like that. Knowledge areas are not phases in the project. Mention that also. Don't think that, business analysis planning is going to be a phase in the project. No, nothing like that. These are just categories or buckets created by IIBA to group certain tasks and put it in one bucket. So all the planning related tasks that a BA does are included under business analysis planning and monitoring. All the planning related tasks come under this, and all the requirements gathering kind of activities that a BA does comes under elicitation and collaboration, which is chapter 4. So there is a category created for every task a BA does. Similarly, we have requirements lifecycle management, which talks about how requirements are prioritized in projects, how changes are handled, and how requirements are traced, tracing of requirements and all of that. Then after chapter number 5, you'll see chapter number 6. This is not there for the exam. Take a note of this. Chapter number 6, strategy analysis, not there for the exam. This is an advanced level topic. Chapter number 7, requirement analysis and design definition, talks about modeling, UML modeling, which we'll see. We'll learn process flow diagrams and all. That time you'll come to know how a BA does analysis of the requirements and what are the diagrams that he or she produces. So requirement analysis tasks of a BA come under the knowledge area, requirement analysis and design definition. Then we have a chapter number 8, which is solution evaluation, which is again excluded from the exam. Take a note of this. Solution evaluation not there for the exam. Okay, so ignore this chapter. Underlying competencies talk about skills a BA should have. Very, very interesting chapter. What kind of skills you should possess as a BA? Very easy chapter also. It talks about communication skills, analytical thinking, and all of that. And then the last chapter number 10, techniques. This is a very, very lengthy chapter, but I will tell you tips and tricks by which you can easily memorize this chapter and appear for the exam. So techniques chapter includes some 50 odd techniques, but don't get overwhelmed by the length of the chapter. I'll tell you what specific information has to be studied from the exam per se. Then lastly, there is a chapter 11, which talks about perspectives, again, not there for the exam. Okay, this chapter is there only for information purposes. You can read this chapter, it's good information to have. How a BA, it talks about how a BA works in the agile world, in the business intelligence world, in the information IT services space, and all of that. Different perspectives to business analysis, what it means. So anybody can tell me in the chat window, what are the chapters that are excluded from the exam? Come on, list in the chat window. Let me see how many of you are attentive. Excluded. Mentioned only the chapters which are excluded. Chapter numbers you can mention. Let me see how many of you are attentive, taking notes. Very, very important to know the syllabus for the exam. You otherwise will end up studying everything. Come on, type each one of you. I want to see each one of you. Are you sure which chapters have to be excluded? Yes, 6. Chapter number 6 is excluded. Chapter number 8 is excluded. And then we have chapter number 11 excluded. Okay, rest all we have to study. Now, when you look at the structure of every knowledge area, starting from business analysis, planning is a knowledge area, right? This is the first knowledge area. When you look at the structure, if you just click on a particular task, you will see, just let me go back a little. So when you expand, let's say, I want each one of you to do this. Click on business analysis, planning and monitoring. When you click on business analysis, planning and monitoring, what are you seeing? You're seeing 5 tasks over there. 3.1, 3.2, 3.3, 3.4, 3.5. Something that I'm showing you on the screen. These are 5 tasks a business analyst does while planning. Okay. Now, when you get into each task and expand that task, you will see there are subsections which talks about what is the purpose of that task. Purpose means why the task is being done. Take a note of this, guys. Purpose equal to why. Purpose answers the question why. Description of that particular task. That means in this case, it will give you details of what is business analysis approach. The first task is plan business analysis approach. Purpose of plan business analysis approach will tell you why a BA is doing business analysis approach. Description of this task will give you more details of how a BA will be doing a business analysis approach. Input, guys. Input means what are the documents. Take a note of this, guys. You will get lost otherwise. Inputs equal to the documents or different reference materials that a BA will use. Okay, documents referred, or so anything that you refer to is the input that you're getting, right? So it might be documents you're referring, or you're talking to somebody and getting some feedback. All of those are inputs. Elements answer the question how. Note it, guys. Elements answer the question how. One of you is, I want 2 of you from this masterclass who's going to summarize all these subsections in the chat window. Okay, at least 2 people have to summarize that. So keep noting. Elements equal to how. They answer the question how. That means how a BA is going to do that particular task. How a BA is going to do business analysis approach. Guidelines and tools will talk about what tools a BA will use in order to complete the task, or any guideline a BA will follow to complete that particular task. Techniques obviously is talking about what techniques a BA can use to complete the task. Stakeholders means who are the stakeholders involved along with the BA to complete that particular task. For example, in order to complete requirements gathering, BA can't do requirements gathering alone, right? She will be hosting the meeting, but she'll be inviting the stakeholders, but along with her, the business stakeholders will be involved. In certain cases, she might also take the technical lead wherever his help is required. So there are different stakeholders involved along with her in requirements gathering. There are different stakeholders involved with her when she is doing requirement analysis. So stakeholders tell you, along with the BA, who are the other stakeholders who are helping her complete the task. And finally, the output. Output talks about what document a BA is going to produce after completing the task. Like in this case, we are in the task plan business analysis approach. That means after the BA completes creating an approach, what output she will produce, what document. So in this case, she is going to prepare an approach document. Okay. So that is the output. So these wordings for each and every subsection are very, very slightly difficult to understand from the BA box per se. That's why I've given you very, very simple terms. Purpose equal to why, inputs equal to the documents she will refer, elements how she's going to do. Keep a note of that so that you don't get lost when you start studying for the exam. Can anybody summarize these subsections, guys? Right from purpose. Just write one word that you can think of when you think of these subsections. Yes, go ahead. Go ahead. Others help. Purpose equal to why, description details. Good job. While you're writing, guys, you're also memorizing. I tell in my master class, at least 40 to 50% of the learning happens in the class itself. Yes, good. I don't want any one of you to go and read BACCM at home and then get confused. Why is it written as input and output and what is element? That is the reason. I tell you in a very simple term to understand. Correct. Good. You guys have got it. Yes, elements equal to how. And output is very, very important. That is a document that the BA produces. So for when you're studying for the exam, memorizing this input, output, elements, stakeholders, techniques is very important. You have to, and that's slightly confusing, but we will learn a tip. We'll learn a trick by which we can memorize it easily. Because you'll see when you expand every task, the same subsections appear. That is the reason I show BACCM here on my screen. When you go to any chapter and you will expand a particular task, you'll see the repetition of the same subsections, guys. So don't worry. The subsection headings are the same, purpose, description, and all, but the content inside the subsection is different. So, like in plan stakeholder engagement, the purpose is talking about why should a BA plan stakeholder engagement, and input will talk about what documents she will refer when she is planning stakeholders engagement, and so on. So that's how we have to read BACCM. Everyone clear on this? Type CL in the chat box before I move ahead. This is how we have to read BACCM. I don't want anyone to get lost with the BACCM structure and complexity. Bring you to the other slide. Now, anyone can tell me what are the 4 core elements of business analysis I showed you in the first slide? What is business analysis? Name the 4 elements. I will be asking you these elements again and again. Need. Exactly. Everything starts with a need. And yes, you got it. Got it. That's great. You guys are very attentive. Yes. Now, these 4 elements, you will see, we will expand it and we'll take it to the next level. So, in BACCM, you will see that the BACCM talks about a framework called as BACCM, Business Analyst Core Concept Model. Okay. And they have put together this framework in this particular way. Let me show you that. So you'll see that the 4 elements we are all clear on the 4 elements, right? The need, the change, the solution, the value. They have in the BACCM they have added 2 more elements: stakeholders and context, which is quite obvious, right? When there is a need, stakeholders are involved in it. When in a particular project where you are trying to address a need of a customer, there are so many stakeholders. There are business stakeholders, technical stakeholders. You as a BA, you yourself are the stakeholders. There are sponsors involved. That is the reason they say in the business analyst framework, stakeholders should also be one important element. The other element is context. What does context stand for? Context stands for circumstances. Circumstances that influenced that change. For example, if we take a very simple scenario of the COVID pandemic, it started in 2020, right? In 2020, when suddenly the pandemic hit the entire world, all of a sudden we had to, several countries had to go on a lockdown. Offices were shut, school, colleges were shut, and a normal life came to a standstill. Now, what was a quick change that we adapted to? The quick change that we adapted to is all of us quickly got into the online mode. All offices started working in the online mode. Schools and colleges also took the same approach. Several businesses which did not have any online presence, they quickly built an online presence in the next 1 month and they started selling their products through online mode. Okay. So the COVID pandemic is another example of a change that we all experienced. And what was the context for it? Why did that change happen? Because The circumstances were in such a way that we were in a lockdown. We were asked not to step out of our houses. There were certain circumstances influencing that particular change, due to which we had to change. During the initial portion of the lockdown, several people were waiting. Even officers thought maybe after 1 week things will improve. Nobody at that particular level, nobody was able to gauge the seriousness. This is a pandemic; it won't go off so soon. So people did not have much insight on that. So, but as things became more clearer, people understood that no, we can't. Life can't come to a standstill. We have to continue with our works. Children have to continue with their education, and all businesses as well as employees, everyone got into the online mode. So certain circumstances had influenced that change. That is what is context. So context, guys, is equal to circumstances. Make a note of that. Circumstances that influence a particular change. So in your customer's context also, when he has approached you to build an application for him, he's expecting some benefits out of that application. And why he's approached you for that application is because there are certain circumstances which have triggered that particular change. There are certain circumstances. Maybe maybe he's facing a dip in revenues. Maybe his customer satisfaction ratings are low. His staff productivity is low. Certain circumstances again have influenced him, has made him go ahead and make this particular change, trigger this particular project. Yes. Now what I want you to do, I think most of you must have not gone through this. Let me give you 5 minutes. You must have not opened the webbox. So I want, before we complete this activity, I wanted to spend some time and let me take you to this particular page that I'm referring to. Let me give you the page number and let me give you 5 minutes of time to memorize this. Yes. Go to page number 12 of BACCM. I'm in page number 12 of BACCM, 12 to 13. These are the core elements of now BA Business Analyst Core Concept Model Framework. I want you to study only this short description, the single line definition. Change, act of transformation. Need, a problem or opportunity. Just study these one-liners in 5 minutes. I give you 5 minutes, memorize it. And in the activity, let me see how many of you can identify the correct ones. Okay. People who don't have a copy of BACCM, you can see this here on my screen. Five minutes, I'll run this quiz. Who do not have BACCM, just note these definitions in short form in your book so that it becomes easy for you to identify during the activities. And I'll keep asking you this definition even after we go ahead with our portion. Two more minutes, and then we will start matching to match the following, match the core concept with its definition. Just one more minute, guys. Okay. Stop sharing here. I want you to match the definitions. The definitions are given in the wrong order. Just write the number. One matches with D or E, whatever. So just don't mention the entire definition or anything. The first column has been marked as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Second column has A, B, C, D, E. Just mark one matches with C or D, or which one. Just put it all in the chat window and let's see how many of you are able to practice. Very, very easy. Simple activity. Close. I want you all to close BA Walker. Don't keep looking at it. How much ever you can recollect from your memory, it's okay, even if you're not able to recollect all. Don't look at BA Walk and then do the match. Come on, others. It's okay if you're not able to match it correctly. You'll be able to do better the next time we run this activity. Great, great, great responses. So the correct answer is quite obvious, right? Need. One matches with B. Need is a problem or opportunity, obvious. Second, solution. Solution is, what is this? What is the solution? Yes. Two matches with C. A specific way of satisfying one or more needs. Change. Change. The third one, change my matches with D. Act of transformation. Four, obviously, I just told you context is circumstances. Okay. And then we have stakeholder. Yeah, stakeholder is a group or individual. Stakeholder is a group or individual. I forgot to mention value parameter here, right? Yes, value is missing. That comes as A, point of A. Confused between 3 and 4. Why confused between 3 and 4? Change. What is change, guys? Go to Bebop. Change is an act of transformation in response to a need. I think why you can getting confused is context. I missed to add context here, right? Context equal to circumstances. Okay. Context equal to circumstances definition I have missed here, right? So fourth is what you're getting confused. Stakeholder obviously is the same. It maps to the same. A group or individual. So 5 is E. That is it. So instead of context, A, I put in the value parameter to confuse you. So context is equal to circumstances, guys. Keep that in mind. A is pointing to value, the worth or importance or usefulness of something. So good, you pointed out. So that means you all are awake. This is too little throw at that light. I thought, you try to map context with worth or importance. So you have to read the definition carefully, guys. It's not that you are able to map everything. So the last one will naturally map to A. It's not mapping C. In this case, it's not mapping. I have not included the circumstances only. Context is always mapping to circumstances. I did not include circumstances. So A is an extra point just added over there. If A maps to value. Right, great. You are able to identify that's great. So in the same chapter, we're in chapter 2 of BA Bob, guys. So in the same chapter, they have mentioned different types of requirements that are there in projects. And each of these requirements have been very, very clearly defined in my requirements framework bundle. How many of you have gone through these requirements in the requirement framework bundle? All of these requirements. Have you seen these requirements in the requirements framework bundle? Yes. So those who have not seen, please go through the requirement framework either by today or tomorrow. And I've, in a summarized way, I've listed here business requirements. These are the requirements you will always get from the business, as the name suggests. But these are high level requirements, guys. So that is the reason I say the job of a BA is not just to take the business requirement and give it to the technical team. If you are doing that, you are just working like a postman. Because business requirement will tell you why. That's why I put that question. Take a note of this, guys. Business requirements always tell you why a particular feature is needed. So using that why, your technical team will not be able to do anything. They'll say, okay, they have told why they need it, but what exactly they need, which brings us to the third requirement, solution requirement. So your first level of requirement, business requirement, will give you the answer why it is needed. Second requirement, stakeholder requirement, will give you an idea who needs it. That means you might be building a global application for your customer, and different departments might be using it. There are several stakeholders for that application. So you should be knowing exactly what particular module you are building for which stakeholder. So that is a who needs it. And what is needed? That's a solution. It's a very easy way of remembering. Using the W's, why, who, what. Solution requirements, I have two categories, functional and non-functional. Both of them both of these categories tell your technical team what exactly is needed. And when your technical team gets clarity on what is required, that is when they are able to develop the software. Okay, only when. So this is the value that we bring to the table as BAs, guys. Okay? If we are able to clearly define what is needed by the customer, only then our technical team is able to build it. And that is one reason I say a BA's role is more of a leadership kind of a role. Because we are the people who design the product for the customer and see to it that the product meets the customer's expectation. Without our input, our technical team can't do anything. So many people have this notion that it is a development team who does all the work, right? Because they are the people who are developing the application. They are the programmers. So they play a larger role. That's not the case, guys. Each role in the project, whether it's a developer, tester, everyone has their own unique place in the project. And as far as BA is concerned, without a BA's input, your technical team can't do anything. They will not be able to do justice to that product. Remember this. So I'm not getting details into these requirements. Every requirement has been explained with the help of an example. Please go and watch it. Okay, then now we are getting into brainstorming. So far, so good. Before I touch base on brainstorming. That is clear. So what we are going to do is, guys, every class, every master class, along with discussing a particular knowledge area, we'll also talk about a bunch of techniques. Okay? So the whole idea is when we get to the final chapter, techniques, the techniques chapter is a very lengthy chapter, like I told you. So if we discuss all the 50 odd techniques towards the end, it becomes relatively boring for people to absorb that much of information. It becomes too much of theory. So as the master class goes, I'm going to pick up a bunch of techniques and discuss in every class, so that towards the end, the techniques chapter becomes a little lighter for everyone. Is that good? So keep a note of all the techniques that I'm discussing every session, so that you get an idea as to how many techniques have been discussed so far. Many of these techniques are very, very crucial from your project per se. Today, I'm going to discuss one such technique, which is very widely used by entry-level BAs as well as senior BAs. And one such technique is brainstorming. How many of you have heard of brainstorming? Great. Many of you know about brainstorming. So brainstorming we do in order to generate new ideas. And this is not a business analysis specific technique. Brainstorming is used in several industries. Whenever you want to generate some new ideas, you call an entire group of experts and you do a brainstorming session to figure out which is the right approach to take, or what kind of product will be the best fit for this particular customer. Anything could be the topic of your discussion. In a very simple way, we do brainstorming even in our day-to-day, in our real life scenario, right? So let's say a bunch of friends, they want to plan their vacation. and they want to go to a common destination all together. The 50 odd friends. So they will meet up one fine day and go brainstorming which location should we go for this for the summer vacation? Where should we go? So different people will give different ideas about what are the best locations, some nearby locations, some very far locations. What the group is doing is brainstorming. It's a very simple way. So there's no need to, if you are not aware of brainstorming, never heard of brainstorming before, don't think that it's a very high fun do kind of a thing, something that you will not be able to do. It is a simple thing that we all do in our day-to-day life. In the project scenario, we'll just put it in a very structured way. Okay. So if in the exam, if there is a question that they ask, which techniques is idea generation technique, or which technique is used to foster creative thinking? Take a note of this word, guys. Foster creative thinking. This is a word that's coming from BACCM. Let me give you the page number for brainstorming so that you can jump straight into it. A moment. The page number for that. Yeah. So brainstorming is in page number 227 of BACCM. 227 and 228. So if you go to page number 227 and 228 of BACCM, it's split across 2 pages. They talk about brainstorming, and the wordings that's given is a technique that's used to foster creative thinking or an idea generation technique. So if these keywords are there in the exam, the answer is brainstorming. Okay. Sweet and simple. What does a BA do in brainstorming? Pay attention to this, guys. Let's say you as a BA, you are brainstorming with a group of experts to identify what kind of features should go into the product. Okay. So that can be your topic of discussion or area of interest, which is mentioned here. So the first, before you call your stakeholders for brainstorming, you have to do a proper preparation. So that is shown in the first section, preparation. That means you define your area of interest. That means what is going to be the topic of discussion. That is, you put that very clearly in the agenda. You determine the time limit. Very, very important. Brainstorming sessions can become very, very lengthy if you don't define the time limit. Define the time limit. Identify who are the participants. Don't ask everyone to attend. Identify the participants. Establish evaluation criteria. What does that mean? See, in a brainstorming session, many people will throw so many ideas. There will be a bunch of ideas that are generated. You're not going to take all that ideas and take it to implementation, right? So you have to figure out how you are going to knock off the ideas which are not relevant. That is the evaluation criteria. Like in the real life scenario, I told you, when a bunch of students, group of friends are brainstorming on which, where should they plan their vacation? What is the destination? Then several people will give different opinions, different suggestions. Based on certain criteria, you will knock off certain locations. Let's say if the entire group wants a nearby location, nobody wants to travel very far. So all the far off locations will be automatically knocked off, right? So you have to establish evaluation criteria. Second portion talks about how the session of brainstorming is going to happen, which means when you start conducting a brainstorming session, what you're going to do is first share ideas. You start off the session by saying that, okay, today we are meeting here in this particular location to identify certain features that should go into the XYZ product. And the time limit of this discussion is 1 hour. In 1 hour, if you are not able to generate enough ideas, I will set up a follow-up meeting. We'll have a follow-up brainstorming session. You can say that. To start the meeting, start the brainstorming session like that, and encourage people to share ideas. As they're sharing ideas, keep on recording it. Just don't keep listening to it. You're not going to retain everything in your memory. So if you have a whiteboard, note it down there. If you have a laptop, note it down. In certain brainstorming sessions, we also have other participant along with the BA who takes notes. So if you want a help, you can ask someone from your project to assist you in the brainstorming session so that he can take the notes. This person who will be actively taking notes is called a scribe. There's a terminology, scribe. And elicit as many ideas as possible. And when you're wrapping up the session, usually what I do is in a brainstorming session, when we are nearing 15 to 10, when we just have 15 to 10 minutes left for the brainstorming session to close, I start the wrap-up procedure. I tell them, okay, we have generated so many ideas so far. so far. We want to narrow this down further. So this is evaluation criteria. So based on this criteria, I'm going to knock off these ideas. How many of you agree with me? How many of you are in favor with feature number 1, 2, 3? I get a consensus. I get a majority as to how many of you them are favorable for a. How many of you are in favor of a particular idea? I rate those ideas accordingly, and then we develop the final list of ideas and distribute it amongst all stakeholders. It's very simple, sweet and simple procedure of brainstorming. Okay. So this image that you're seeing on the screen, guys, is there in BACCM. Okay, you can keep this image with you very handy if you are doing a brainstorming session with your customer. Now, I want you to explore a tool today along with me. Okay. So in the tool, we are going to build a mind map. And I'm going to give you a case study. First, let me tell you in a nutshell, before I take you to the tool interface, what is a mind map? Mind mapping as a technique is mentioned in page number 299 of the book. Okay. What is mind map? Mind map and brainstorming are siblings. Okay. In the brainstorming session, we generate ideas. In the mind mapping session, we capture it. Which means when you can use these techniques in both of these techniques parallelly. That means the brainstorming session is happening here, and I will be, instead of taking notes in the laptop or writing it in a piece of paper or on the whiteboard, I can draw a mind map. Mind map is a diagram, a visual way of capturing notes. Okay, so don't get confused. What is this mind map? It is a visual diagram which helps you create notes very much faster. So I'm taking you to a tool which will help you create mind maps very, very fast. Okay, so let's see that. Everyone with me so far? You're ready to explore a new tool? If you're ready to explore, type RE. Type RE, the chat box, if you are ready to explore a new tool. Great. So let me go to the website. I'm going to show you a new tool. And this tool creates absolutely amazing mind maps. And you're going to create a mind map today with me here in the class. So what I want you guys to do is, I want you to go to this website that you're seeing here. This is a tool called as Gitmind. Gitmind. Go to this URL, gitmind.com. Okay. Right now, do it. I'm waiting. When you go to this URL, on the home page, you will see this button. Get started. There's a button called as Get Started. When you click on Get Started, it will ask you to create an account. Okay. Just go ahead and create an account, give your email address and create an account. After which it will show you a dashboard where we will start creating the mind maps. Okay. So now Gitmind is already installed on my machine. So I will open my version of Gitmind. By that time, you finish your account creation and everything, and you'll see exactly the same interface that I'm going to show. So do that, finish your creation of account so that we can create mind map together. Great, account is created. So you will see a dashboard like this as soon as you create an account. You will arrive on a dashboard like this, where there are a lot of templates. We don't need to go through all of these templates. We'll use a simple template. Any of the templates we can use, okay? You open, whichever you find very, very simple to use, you can use that. See a format like this. You see a dashboard where it gives you different templates. Everyone with me so far? Have you reached this particular page where it gives you an option of creating new mind map? Great. So here, when you have reached this page where it says new mind map, you're in the right place. So your screen might not be exactly the same screen because, like I said, I have downloaded it into my machine. but you should be able to see the new mind map option. So just click on new mind map. Okay. You will be able to click on new mind map and go. Don't worry about it. In my case, I have to open a previous one. Click on create new mind map. I have created too many mind maps here. That's why it asked me to open an existing one. You click on create mind map. It will open up with a central node. There will be a one central node that must be placed over here. When I say central node, this is the central node. So different, like I said, different templates for mind maps is available. In some templates, you will see this in the form of a rectangular box like you're seeing here. In some templates, it's like an oval box. You can draw mind map in any format. There is no strict rule that it should be a square box. It should not be a circle. The only rule that you have to follow is a mind map has a central node. It can be a square, a rectangle, oval, anything, but a central node and branches coming out of the central node. That is what you have to keep in. So we'll draw that time you'll get an idea. So here in your mind map, let's brainstorm on some product features. Okay? Some product features that we will do for a new application, for building a new application. Let me give you a proper scenario. Okay, let me take you the presentation. There is a case study that I have for you. Read this case study. It will become more clear. Now in this case study, based on this case study, we are going to develop that mind map. Okay, so just hold on. So in this case study, what I've tried to tell you is Technopro is one of the companies that's headquartered in Europe. The company develops apps for various small and mid-sized companies. One of their IT teams is developing a networking app called as Connect IT, which enables senior IT leaders to network and share their experiences, knowledges, and even recommend each other's work. Okay, so it is a networking app that they are building for a company. The team is brainstorming on the features which should be included in this particular app. We create the brainstorming session and use mind maps to capture your thoughts and ideas. So this is the activity. So we have to focus on building a networking app called as Connect IT. And we are going to brainstorm together, think about what kind of features should go into this networking app. Okay, so let's just put yourself in the user's shoe and think about, if suppose you are from the IT world, IT leader, and you want use this particular app, what kind of features should be there for you to use that particular app? What features will be beneficial for you? And just think about that. Keep that in mind. Let me come back to this mind map and we will start brainstorming together. I will start the brainstorming session by giving you a hint of that should be there. So our topic for discussion, guys, is features for Connect IT. Okay, Connect IT is the name of the app. So we are brainstorming on this. So our central node is features for Connect IT. Now I start the brainstorming session. The first couple of features I'll tell you. Then I want you guys to throw suggestions in the chat box. For any person to use this particular app, obviously he needs to create an account. Without creation of his account, his profile will not be available in the networking app. It means other members will not be able to see what is the experience level this particular user has. And we have to just think about from the LinkedIn scenario, right? LinkedIn is a professional networking website. The only difference being is we are bringing this as an app for the senior IT leaders. So in LinkedIn, we have an option of create an account where we can create an elaborate account about our profile, our work experience, and everything. The first feature that comes into my mind is create account. Mention this as a child node. This is called a child node. Please add it, guys, along with me. I don't want you to sit staring at my screen. What did I do here in order to add a child node? I just highlighted the central node and I clicked on tab. I just pressed tab, not clicked on it. I pressed tab on my laptop. I got a child node. The same thing you can do with the help of the buttons over here. If you don't, what I used is the keyboard shortcut. If you don't want to use that, you can place your mouse on the central node and then just click on this insert node. The same thing happens. So the options are here on the first level of the menu. You can just go on clicking on that. Okay, this should be very clear. Has everyone created one particular child node? One child node, create account? Great. So that's correct. Create account is the first level of feature that came into my mind. Next. Add work experience. Add work experience and other details. This is another feature that comes to it. Now, I want from some suggestions from your side. What else? What do you think will go into this app? I've given you 2 suggestions. Networking app, right? Simple networking app. How can people network? Mention create account, add work experience, add other details like education details and all of that. Okay. So we have a suggestion coming as chat. I'm just listing all of that. I'm not saying whether it's correct or right, because in a brainstorming session, we are not going to segregate it as right or wrong. We're just listing all the ideas that are coming to our mind. Okay. What else? Good. Some good suggestions I'm getting. Comment. Go on adding these child nodes, guys. Go on adding it so that you get a practice. You can further practice it at home, but I want you to learn this even here in the class itself. Now, there is when you're creating these child nodes, don't think that all of these child nodes can be associated only to a central node. We can also do something called as a sub node. So let's say within create account, I want to do a sub node. So I get an option like this. What did I do? I selected this create account again, and I just clicked on tab or enter. It gives a topic branch. So let's say add work experience and details. I want to add it as a child node over here because it's a part of creation of account, right? So I do add work experience. I say education details. Add this as subnodes to the child node create account and I knock off this. I can add more. If more things are coming into your head for create account, we can put that as a child nodes, as a sub node of that child node. So again, explore this, guys. There is an option in the main menu which says that there is sub node. See here, insert sub node. Shortcut keyboard shortcut to that is tab key. For all these mind maps, like I tell you, there are a lot of templates available. When you click on this sidebar, let me just show you that. See on the side, on the right-hand side, you can see the right-hand side portion of my screen. See, on the right-hand side portion, we have different layouts, different types of layouts that are there. You can choose any of these layouts. So I think in my case, this particular layout, yes, this particular layout is chosen. If in your case, some other layout is chosen, you'll see the mind map in that layout. That's not a problem. It's not wrong. Like I said, you can use any of these layouts here. Similarly, when you click on theme also, you will see, you'll be able to change the theme. So I want you to, once we finish this particular mind map, you can take 1 week to explore this tool, different layouts, different themes. Which one you want to use, you can go ahead and use. There is nothing, in case of mind map, it's a free drawing. That is a free drawing. When I say it's, we don't have to get fixed on a structure. When I teach you process flow diagrams, use case diagrams, I will tell you, you have to use these specific notations. You can't go away with it. That's different. You have to follow UML rotations. When it comes to mind map, it's a free drawing. You can draw it in a circular shape. You can draw it in a square shape box, rectangular shape box. So that's why I say you can choose any of these themes and work on it, any of these layouts and work on it. And you'll see the boxes coming in that direction. So in your case, as a different layout is chosen, you'll see the boxes in that layout format. You have all of these layouts. I personally like this particular layout. That's why I keep choosing this. So in my case, the default is selected to this layout. The curve shaped layout, it's called. Okay, so we have brainstormed, say about five years. So what else comes into your mind when you think about this networking app? What else should be there? We have chat, we have comment, we have privacy, team directory. Yes, likes. Then make a post, right? So remember in the case study, we had mentioned that this app should allow the senior IT leaders to share their knowledge, share their domain knowledge or the industry knowledge with the colleagues. And that's how the group is going to stay connected and grow, right? So they should be able to make a post. And then people will comment on that post. And that's how networking is going to happen, right? So again, making a post can be of different format. It can be a text post. It can be a text post. It can be an image. Somebody posts about a very good motivational quote or something like that. Or maybe a video post. Correct. See, like I said, when we are talking about networking, try to map it with LinkedIn, right? It's a professional network where people are trying to build official, professional relationships and, try to get recommendations for jobs and things like that. So many of those features will come from there only, from LinkedIn only, and build all of those features. Correct. Now you guys are in the correct line. Yes. So make a post can have one more subnode, as I got a suggestion, that share a post. So somebody has made a post. Let's say Peter has posted in the group, and then someone else liked the post and he's forwarding it or sharing it with his group. Correct. Account tagging feature. Tag a post. Correct. Then the logout feature, very simple. Logout feature. We can also have something like, if the senior leaders want to create some subgroups of, like in LinkedIn also, we have that option, right? You can create a company group LinkedIn profile. So we can have another, let's create groups. These create groups will be small subgroups of like-minded individuals, people specializing in a particular domain of IT. They all IT professionals belonging to the banking sector. They can create a separate group. Somebody belonging to insurance, they can create a separate group for insurance. All of that. So now do you see how this is shaping up, guys? Have you built this mind map along with me? Great. Now more suggestions I'm getting. I like it. Under comment, we can have liking a comment. Share a comment. Now, what you guys have done when you are proposing these features, what you guys have done, you have used LinkedIn as a reference guide. Plus, you have also stepped into the shoes of a user who is using the networking site, right? A user. So you have visualized yourself as a senior IT leader and say that, okay, this guy wants to, his whole objective is to network with other people. So what kind of features will be beneficial for him? Okay, he should be able to share a post. The post can be of several types. And when he shares a post, people should be able to comment on that post. People should be able to like that post and forward that post to other people. This is how, what we are learning is, this is how a product starts taking shape. So we learned it with a very simple example of something that we already know. So we have a reference and we started. Is this good? Is this a good start? Was this a bulb on movement? I call it a bulb on movement, BO. As you see the product taking shape, you understand that, I'm also participating in this brainstorming session and I'm giving, throwing my ideas. So all the ideas that you have listed there, now, guys. Yes, I also love it. I also love it. Thank you for that comment. All of these ideas that we are listed here, these are features of which are going to go into that app, the case study that I presented for you. And when we talk about features, what are features? Features are nothing but requirements. So in order to develop each of those features, there is going to be a BA who is going to have a requirement gathering session with the business stakeholder to understand this feature in detail. Yes, which is what we'll learn in the coming sessions, how to understand a feature in detail. So requirements are nothing but a capability that is required by the business. Okay, when we talk about capability, in very simple terms, features. These are features, something that you're seeing on the screen. You brainstormed and came up with a set of features which your networking app should contain. Similarly, develop a application for your customer, which will be based on what exactly is the problem that he is trying to solve. Right. So if all of you have not noted down all the points in this mind map, refer to the recording and create this mind map. Completion of this mind map is very, very important, guys, because, like I said, all of this have to be uploaded in the exam simulator. So you can think about additional ideas, which I have not added over here. In the interest of time, I am moving ahead, but add as many ideas as possible because I'm going to review this mind maps. Once you complete the mind map, you can click on the save button. You can also take a screenshot of this. You can go to the full screen mode and take a screenshot of this and upload the screenshot in the exam simulator in the form of a JPEG or PNG file, whatever. So you will get an export functionality over here. On the left-hand side, now there is options. You will see save. Save will save it in your account. Then export functionality is there. You can export it as JPEG, PNG, whatever you want. Any of this format is okay with me. Okay? You can export it in any of the format and upload it. So you have to complete this mind map. Very, very important. And this mind map is something that is going to help you even in the exam preparation. Okay? Because mind maps are not only used for brainstorming. Brainstorming is one use of the mind maps where all the ideas resulting out of the brainstorming session we capture in mind maps. Okay? The other usage of mind map is also to break down a complex topic into simple components. So in our case, what is the complexity? The complexity is the structure of BACCM, right? The complexity is there with respect to the exam preparation. So we can create a mind map to address that. Let me show the previous mind map that we have done for BACCM. One that I look at this mind map. What I have done here. This is something. This is one of the tip that I give my students, how you can break the complexity of BACCM. What I've done is, I'm not doing any brainstorming here, guys. I have put the central node as the name of the knowledge area, business analysis, planning, and monitoring. You'll see the first two chapters are not difficult. They are pretty straightforward. the complexity increases from chapter number 3, which is what I have indicated here, business analysis planning. So in this mind map, I put the central node as a name of the chapter. Then I went ahead and added the name of the task. All of these are 5 tasks that are there in business analysis planning. Now, under each of these tasks, we just delete this. This is big. Under each of these tasks, what you can do is you can include a branch which says input, another branch which says output, then elements, stakeholders, and techniques. Okay, because all of this has to be memorized with the help of for the exam. So we added these sub nodes. Now inside these sub nodes, I can add further nodes here. Let's say for plan business analysis approach, the input that is required is need. The output that we generated is business analysis approach. Elements involved will be several. Okay, there are several elements involved. I'm not listing all of that. Stakeholders involved will be PM, have the SME, and so on. There are several stakeholders involved here also. And the techniques also, a bunch of techniques are involved. So you can keep on adding these child nodes depending upon how many techniques are there. So what happens is, guys, when you prepare a structure like this, take the information from BACCM and create a structure like this, it becomes very easy for you to memorize from the exam per se. And another advantage is, couple of days before the exam, when you want to go back to chapter 3 and revise, you don't need to open BACCM. You just need to open this mind map. And in the mind map, you'll have input, output, elements, stakeholders, and everything over there. Okay. So BACCM has lots of information altogether. You don't need to read through that information again and again. Here you can, from when you as you're going through each and every knowledge area, I'll tell you what are the important elements. I've just included some elements over here. It doesn't mean you don't have to study anything else. Okay. But you can arrange all the information in BACCM in this tree view structure. Understood? Clear about this type CL? If you're clear about how this can help you crack the exam. Yes, all of this information can be arranged in this way. So usage of mind map, 1, to capture ideas coming out of brainstorming. Second usage is to break down any complex topic into simpler components. So that topic can be even your exam preparation. By the way, mind maps are very actively being used in schools and colleges also by students to prepare for the exams. So all the important areas that when you read through the topic, you come across the important area where you feel, oh, this can translate into a question in the exam. You can include that as a node here. Then you don't need to go back to BACCM and see every time. Cool, guys. This is one technique. I will also talk about how you identify patterns in BACCM so that you can predict what kind of questions will come. We'll see that as we go ahead. Okay. Now, very quickly, before we wrap up today's session, I want to familiarize you with the project. Okay, what this bootcamp project is all about. So we learned about 2 techniques. Which are the 2 techniques that we learned, guys? Type in the chat box. Which are the 2 techniques that we learned? And let me take you to. Great. Yes, so that means you are with me. Let me go back to Business Analysis Hub. Everyone log into Business Analysis Hub because we're going to now extract the BRD from there. And I want you to do this project study at home and come before tomorrow's class. You should finish studying this document. Let me show you which document I'm referring to. Let me just share my screen. Log into Business Analysis Hub and click on Career Growth Funnel. Just loading at my end. So when you come to this career growth funnel, you will see there is a section called as bootcamp project. There's a section called as bootcamp project. In that section, the first section, BRD, first document, I should say, BRD. I want you to download this document. Download this document. This is our main business requirement document for the bootcamp project. Okay. And I will take you through this. It's called BRD Bootcamp Automobile. Let me open this document in my machine. This very good. Everyone with me, download this document, and I'm just going to share my screen. Yes. This is the document. When you open that BRD, you'll see this document. So the first sections of the document is pretty straightforward. Then we have the business goals. What I want you to do is the first level of activity that you will be doing when you are deployed on an actual live project. Okay, your client will give you some reference documents, and you have to go through these reference documents in order to understand what this project is all about. Now, here as a customer, I have given you the BRD. Now, in an actual project, there might be two scenarios. Note this down. There might be a scenario where in some projects, the customer gives you the BRD. Okay, so that's a good starting point for you. You have a BRD and you have to write a functional requirement document for it. So that's scenario number one, which is the scenario that I've given you. Now, in some projects, the customer doesn't give you a BRD, the BA has to write the BRD. That also happens. So either you might be asked to create a BRD and FRD together, or it might be a case where the customer has given you BRD and you are expected only to write the FRD. Two scenarios possible right now. So even if you're asked to create a BRD, you have to follow this particular template. You can use this template to create a BRD for the project. Several organizations have their own templates. If your organization already has a template, use that particular. But this template will serve as a guideline for you to know exactly what information has to be added in what section. Okay, so you will get a clarity about what information has to be added. See how this BRD has been structured, guys. So on a broad level, first they have started off writing the business goals. Now let me give you a background before we get into the content. I want you to evaluate the content of this BRD, but let me give you a context what this customer does and things like that. So now New Tech Cars. This is an automobile company. They are a car trading company. So they are into buying and selling of used cars. Pay attention here, guys. Don't start reading the information. Just pay attention to me. So this is the main business of the customer, buying and selling of used cars. Now, as they are growing, as the company is growing, it's becoming difficult for the company to give a satisfactory response to each and every customer. Why? Why is that happening? Because the current process of the entire company is completely manual. They have not done any automation. They are not using any applications, due to which customers, suppose you as a buyer, you want to buy a used car, then what you need to do is you need to visit their nearby location, office location, and place an order. Tell them that this is the car that I'm looking for. This is the type, the model, and this is the variant that I'm looking for. And the car should not be more than 2 years old or 3 years old. And this is the mileage it should give, all the different requirements. So as a buyer, you have to come physically to their office location, fill in a form, which they call as the buyer registration form. So buyer needs to fill in all the details, all his preferences in terms of vehicles, and hand it over to the support team. Support team will then pass it on to the sales team. Sales team will check, okay, what are the requirements of this buyer, and they will try to match if they have a particular car in the inventory, which is exactly matching this buyer's requirement. Okay. Now this process, because it's completely manual, they don't have any automated tools to handle it. It takes more than 14 days because the sales team has to manually search through all the paper-based files, right? When we're talking about files, these are not soft copy files. These are paper-based files. So they have a huge warehouse where they have lots and lots of folders, those box files, and they have put in all the vehicle information in all in these files, and they have stored it. So they have there are a lot of vehicles in their inventory, and all of this information is stored in in a very unstructured way. So it takes the sales team a lot of time to hunt for that information and find the vehicle matching this guy's preference. So that's the reason at least 14 days is required. And in the meantime, this customer goes to some other company. There is no response from this particular company. Actually, you will leave, right? So the long turnaround time is becoming a concern to the management because they are losing out on competition. Competition has advanced tools. They have their website on. They have automated tools running in the background, due to which that team is very responsive. Very quickly, they can map the buyer's request with the inventory of vehicles that they have, and can give them on the spot details of the vehicle that is matching their preferences. So that's the problem that the customer has, and the entire story is given here in this document, guys. So it says section 2 details the current process that New Tech Cars is following. So here in the section business process overview, it talks about exactly the process that I told you right now, that is listed over here, as to how a buyer contacts the support team, and everything has been put in the form of a diagram also, flow diagram also. I have included this. Now, they want to embark on a journey where they are able to automate this entire thing. They want to automate this entire thing. So they have partnered with an infotech company to develop a web portal to help solve these problems. So if you have a web portal, then the customers can come and they can automatically search and retrieve for information, right? They can do it themselves. They don't need to wait. Then buyers can come and create an account. They can add their preferences. Sellers can come and add their vehicle details online. Everything can be done by them, by the people themselves. So there is no wait time involved. So they have identified that this one particular solution can help them solve the problem. They have teamed up with this infotech company who's going to help them solve a portal where all this information can be put online. So the scope of this particular project, for this particular sprint, guys, the scope is we are going to develop a search engine. We are going to develop a registration page for the buyer and a registration page for the seller. Okay, this is the scope. Now the portal is going to have lots of features. Okay, we have not listed all the features. We have kept a limited scope only for the first sprint. Afterwards, in the later sprints, we'll develop the other features. I want you guys to focus on these 3 features. These are the 3 features for which we are going to write requirements. Okay. So I want you to wear your thinking cap, wear your BA hat and analytical thinking hat, and think more on these particular features before tomorrow's class. Think about it. Don't do anything. Go through this document in detail. There might be several queries coming into your mind. As these queries come, put it, note all the queries together. You can post it in our email address, all the queries together, and I'll answer it. or you can put it in the Telegram group also. In the Telegram support group that we create, don't put it in the main group. So this is the home activity, guys. I have explained this document in a high level to you already. What is the current process? Take your time to absorb this information, read this document, understand what are the business requirements of the customer. Okay? And like I said, all your queries, you can send it across to me. And I'll answer those queries. So before we wrap up today's session, let me reiterate. Tomorrow's activity is first, upload the mind map in exam simulator. That's one activity. Second activity, let me do this in the whiteboard. Let me do that. A whiteboard, so it is very clear to everybody. So activity number 1, upload mind map exam simulator. Then just read the BRD document and post queries on the BRD. If you have any queries, you can post that BRD. For people who have not gone through IT framework and requirements framework, IT blueprint and requirements framework, sorry, please go through that. This is a task only for people who have not gone through it. Majority of you have completed that. So task number 3 is not applicable to you. Complete tasks 1 and 2. Done, guys? Great. That's great. So then let's wrap up today's session. In the coming sessions, you'll see each of these business requirements, how it starts taking a shape into a functional requirement. I'll start teaching you how these single line business requirements can be written in a very detailed format. In such a detailed format that your technical team will not have any doubts about how this product has to be developed. So that's the detail we'll get in. Okay, with that, let's wrap up today's session. Thank you very much, guys. Have a nice day. Bye-bye. See you. God bless you. Thank you.